Do you know on your Windows interface or your desktop background, when you hold the Windows key and the letter V, this brings out the Windows clipboard history, and this particular window allows you to copy different items from different applications, which can include websites or web pages. You can also copy from word processing applications, spreadsheet applications, and other softwares, and those items are going to be found in this clipboard history window. Let me show you an example. Currently it says nothing here. You will see your clipboard history here once you have copied something. So let me press the escape key on the keyboard to cancel this window. Now I have this application, which is Microsoft Word. Let's assume that I copy this item, 1 2 3, Ctrl plus C. Now when I use the Windows key and the letter V, this brings out this clipboard history, and I have this copied item, which is from Microsoft Word. Now I'm going to switch to Microsoft Excel. Now this is my Excel window. This is my spreadsheet application. When I select these items and hold Ctrl plus C, this item is also copied into the clipboard. When I use Windows key and the letter V, now you can see that I have all these items in this particular window. So this feature is very useful, especially if you want to copy different items from different applications and want to maintain them, and maybe you want to paste them into one single application, then you can do so. Now I'm going to switch to PowerPoint and paste these items into PowerPoint interface. So this is my layout I have in this presentation. When I use the Windows key and the letter V, I have this here. When I click on it, this is going to paste this item into this particular window. Therefore I can increase the size to have a view of this data. And also I have another item in the clipboard history. When I click on this, I also have this item pasted in this application. So the Windows key and the letter V is the shortcut to open the clipboard history of your Windows operating system, and you can have multiple items copied into the window. Now on your operating system of your Windows, when you hold the Control key, the Shift key, and the letter N, this creates a new folder, and it has the default name as new folder. You can give a name to it and press the Enter key. So anytime you want to have a quick creation of your folder on your operating system, you can use Control, Shift, and the letter N on the keyboard, and you are going to have your folder created perfectly for you. If you have this selected and you press the Enter key, this is going to open this window based on the selected icon. And let's assume that you have an open window on your desktop interface and you want to close it with a keyboard shortcut. You can use the Alt key and the F4 on the keyboard, and this is going to close this window on your operating system. Now if you have multiple windows open on your operating system, those windows are minimized on your Windows taskbar. If you want to get access to them, you can use the Alt key and the Tab key, and this is going to have access to all these open windows. And since you have your finger pressed on the Alt key, you can use the Tab key to glance through, and if you want to access any of these open windows, you just release the keyboard shortcut key, and that is going to have access to that particular window. So the Alt key and the Tab key helps you to navigate through open windows on your Windows taskbar. Now if you use the Windows key and the letter L on the keyboard, this is going to lock the screen of your window. So when you press it, you're going to have a lock screen of this particular window on your desktop background. Therefore you need to open this window by clicking or pressing the Enter key, or if you have any password that is set on your computer system, you need to type the password to get access to your interface of your desktop. When you have multiple windows open on your desktop and you use the Windows key and the letter D, this is going to minimize all windows and place them on your Windows taskbar. So you can see that I have all these open windows on this Windows taskbar, and this shortcut is Windows and the letter D. You have multiple items on your Windows taskbar, and these items or icons are arranged according to their positions. So presently this is an icon which is chat, this is an icon which is Copilot, and these are arranged on this taskbar. If I use the Windows key and any of these positional numbers, so we have 1 2 3 4 5, when I use the Windows key and the number 4 on the keyboard, this is going to open the icon that is the number 4 or the icon that is in the positional number 4 on the Windows taskbar, and that is Microsoft Store. So when I move here, I have Microsoft Store here, which is this. So this is 4, this is 3, 2 and 1. So this is starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So I have 10 open programs on this particular Windows taskbar. And if I have this window open and I want to close, Alt and the F4. If I use Windows and the number 2 on the keyboard, this is going to open the icon that is in the positional number 2 on the Windows taskbar. And as usual, if you want to close any of this, you can use the Alt key and the F4 on the keyboard. Now when you use the Windows key and the letter E, this opens the file explorer of your window, and presently this is in the full screen mode on my Windows interface, and I can use the Windows key and the navigational keys, which are the arrow keys on my keyboard, to position this window the way I want on my interface. So if I use the Windows key and the left arrow key, this snap this window to the left side, and you can see that I have other open windows shown at the right side of this window. The window I just snapped is located at the left side, which is this particular window, and these are other windows I can open. And since this is selected, I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard to glance through. Now if I want to still access this window, I can use the Alt key and the Tab key, and that is going to access this particular window. And when I use Windows and the right arrow key, this is going to bring back this into the full screen mode. Windows right, snap this to the right side, and when I select Windows and the down arrow key, this is going to minimize this window. And when I select Windows up, and this is going to change the position of this particular window on your desktop background. So that is the Windows key and the arrow keys on the keyboard. If I want to open the settings window on my Windows interface, I can use the Windows key and the letter I on the keyboard, and this is going to open the settings window of my interface, and I can apply all settings I want to have for my computer system. And also, if you have a lot of windows and you want to capture a picture or an image of a certain window, you can use the Windows key, the Shift key and the letter S on the keyboard. This brings out the snipping tool of your interface, and you can select a particular area of your window that is going to capture that area as an image. And when you get access to this, you can save this on your computer system or in any directory and access it for future use. If you have a lot of icons on your desktop and you want to rename a particular icon, you can click on that icon and press the F2 on the keyboard. This is going to select the name of that icon, and you can retype a name for it. After doing so, you can press the Enter key, and that is going to save that name for that particular icon. And on your desktop, if you want to refresh your computer system, you can use the F5 on the keyboard multiple times, and that is going to refresh your operation of your computer system. If you hold the Control key, the Shift key and the Escape key on the keyboard, this brings out the task manager of your Windows, and this is purposely used for closing application which is having a complication to close, or it is refusing to close on your interface. You can use this interface to close that particular application. Assuming I want to close this Microsoft Excel, I can select this and move to the top of this window and choose End Task. You can also right click and then choose End Task in this particular interface. Now when I click on this, check on this Windows taskbar, I have Excel here. When I choose End Task, now when I move to the Windows taskbar, I have Excel not available. So this task manager has a lot of features, but purposely I use it to close application which is refusing to close from the Windows interface. Now when I click on this X button, I close this window. If I use the Windows key and the letter P, this brings out the projection interface, and it says your PC can't project to another screen. Try reinstalling the driver or using a different video card. So if you have a video card or a driver that supports projection, that is when you want to project your PC to another screen. That is if you have a presentation to show, especially in churches where you want to showcase some verses of the Bible or any information that you want to display to the audience or members. You can connect your PC to another screen using this particular project feature of your Windows interface. When you press the Escape key, this is going to cancel this if purposely you don't have the driver or the video card that supports this particular application. But on my laptop, I use it more often. This is my desktop computer, so it does not support. but most often it supports laptop computers if your graphics is very high. I have this file explorer window which is in the full screen mode. When I press the F11 on the keyboard, this is going to minimize and also maximize this window, and this does it by taking off all other features, that is the title bar and other icons that are shown at the top of this window. So if I press the F11, this is going to close all those icons. I'm going to have this particular interface fully shown to me. When I press the F11, this brings back all these items or icons back to this interface. F11, as you can see. And also, when you have access to this window or some related window, when you use Ctrl+F on the keyboard, this helps you to find certain items. So holding the Ctrl+F, you can see that I have this search home selected, where I can search for certain items, and that is going to filter out all these items and bring out the item that relates to this particular search. So you can see that I have R and B because all items I type B and B is located in this particular item. Therefore I can double click to open this quickly on my interface, and when you click on this X button, this is going to cancel this search that was obtained by using the Ctrl+F on the keyboard. Do you know when you are working on your Windows interface or you have access to any of these Microsoft Office apps and you hold the Windows key and the semicolon on your keyboard, this brings out this window that gives you access to different kinds of emojis which you can insert into your interface of any application that you have on your Windows interface. So the Windows key and the semicolon brings out the emoji window of your operating system. When you press the escape key, this is going to cancel this particular window. When you use the Windows key and the tab key on the keyboard, this is going to bring out the task view of your operating system, and this is available on Windows 10, Windows 7 or Windows 11 operating system, and this gives you the clue of all open windows. And if you want to access any of this, you can click on it, and also this allows you to create a virtual desktop of your operating system. So presently I have this desktop 1, and this desktop 1 consists of all these open windows. When I click on this, I have another desktop open, and this is the only window that is open because I am using this recorder to record my screen. When I move to desktop 1, I get access to my interface, and when I use the Windows key and the tab key once again, this brings back. Then I can click on the desktop 2, and this gives me access to this. If you want to close any of them, Windows tab, then you click on this X button, then you have your first desktop that was created.